Okay, here's some problems to solve linear equations. We're going to do it by graphing and by algebra. And what you're trying to find out is where the y equals 0, what is the solution for x? Okay, so where it crosses the x-axis. So you can do that algebraically. Instead of writing a y right here, we have a 0 because we know that where the graph hits the x-axis, that's where y is equal to 0. So to solve it algebraically, you just do the same thing that you would do, isolate x and get it by itself. So we must add 2 to both sides. That's the first thing we're going to do. So 2 equals 1/3 x. And then in order to get rid of 1/3, we would divide. To divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3/1. Multiply by the reciprocal, so x is equal to 6. So if we were to graph it, our graph would hit the x-axis at 6, when whatever our graph happened to look like. I don't know what this looks like, but I'm not gonna graph it right now. Anyway, okay, so let's solve this one by graphing. Okay, so first of all, we have to make the equation equal to 0 because that's what our y is. Okay, so we're gonna make it equal to 0. Actually, they want us to do this. So first make it equal to 0, and then that's what our, so we're going to add 2 to both sides. So it's 3x plus 3 is equal to our y, or our f of x, because our y is going to be 0, right? So this is our f of x. Okay, so now make a little table. You have your x and your y. Plug in some 0 and let's say 1, just because we need 2 points. Okay, for x. So 3 times 0 plus 3 is equal to what? It's 3. Okay, so and then plug in 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's our f of x. Okay, so now we have our 2 points. They go over 0 up 3, and then we go over 1 up 6, and there's our graph. So that means our solution must be right there. Okay, so our solution for x has got to be 2 for our solution. By graphing it, we found that our graph crossed the x-axis at 2. If I were to draw this correctly, it probably wouldn't, so I probably should draw it a little bit better, because that's not going to go in the right direction. So I'm going to see that it's going to go more like this. You want to take a straight edge when you make these, and it's going to be 1. Okay, check it. Check to make sure. If you put in 1 here, 3 times 1 plus 1 is equal to -2. Was that true? Or excuse me, it's -1. It's -1. X is -1. So 3 times -1 is -2, or -3 plus 1 is -2. So that works. Check your answers. All right. Here's another. Let's do another one. Solve algebraically then by graphing. So let's solve this algebraically. We have 2 x's, so we have to subtract our 3x from both sides, and we get 7 is equal to 0. Ooh, what happens when we get answers like that? This is called a no solution, right? So what does a no solution mean when we're graphing it? That means it doesn't cross the x-axis, okay? It never crosses the x-axis. So what do we get here? We get 7 equals 1, and we want to know what our y is, so we subtract 1 from both sides. We get 6 is equal to 0. This 0 is our f of x, right? So that means that it crosses at 6, there, and it doesn't cross the x-axis ever, so that means it's a straight line going like this. Okay? That's what a no solution line looks like. Okay? Emily is going to the local carnival. The function m equals 20 minus 0.75 r represents the amount of money m she has left after r rides. Find the 0 for this function. Describe what this value means. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and graph it. Okay, so we have an x and we have our f of x. Okay, and let's just put in a couple r, or our x is our r, so we can't have negative rides. So we have 0, and let's just put in 5. 0 rides and 5 rides, and then we're going to graph those.